Thank you so much that I can be here today to chat with you a little bit more about sound therapy and sound meditation. I'm going to share a screen with you for the PowerPoint presentation. While I do that, I'm going to close my video just to make sure that the data goes out easily. Right. So when you look at that screen, at the top is the name of my center, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it later on. And the picture that you see there of the two tuning forks, it's actually a summary of my whole talk. The image is about sympathetic resonance entrainment. It's a phenomenon in physics, which basically means where you have one vibrating object, such as the tuning fork on the left, when it has a direct vibratory effect on something else, which would be the tuning fork number B on the right. And the effect of the vibration from the one object on the other is such that it makes the other object vibrate too. So in my talk today, I will share more information on the sound vibrations used in sound therapy and sound meditation, which are used to entrain people's energy to move back to what's called their blueprint healing frequency. Because stress and pollution causes us for our energy to actually move away from the blueprint healing frequency. And in sound therapy and sound meditation, we use different sounds to entrain your energy back towards healing. Here I just want to come in and say, when I talk about healing, it's different from curing. In the Western medicine, when a cure is not found for someone, it's seen as failure. Whereas in the more Eastern medicine, which is the belief used in sound therapy as well, healing is seen as a long journey, and whatever positive experiences a person has along the healing journey is seen as part of the healing. So just remember, when I talk about healing, it's not necessarily the same as curing. So the use of sound for healing is as old as humankind itself. For example, Pythagoras wrote specific scales for specific ailments. A scale in music is a succession of notes. So there were specific successions of notes, scales used for specific ailments. In the Old Testament of the Bible, we read of how David soothed King Saul's fierce temper with harp music. Indigenous tribes to this day still use a combination of music and dance and plant medicine to reach altered states of consciousness. And then there's also the well-known story of how the walls of Jericho came down with the use of sound. So the effect of music and sound is undeniable, and it can go either way. It can either have a good effect or a negative effect. And when I teach sound therapy and sound meditation, I encourage people to notice what sounds in their lives actually enhance their well-being and what sounds don't. And then if you can get rid of the sounds that do not enhance your well-being, then do so. And if you cannot get rid of those sounds, there are certain ways you can positively affect your own energy to still allow those sounds, but then they have a bit less of a negative effect on you. Now, I mentioned earlier the vibratory principle of sound therapy with the tuning forks. So this is indeed the basic principle of sound healing. Everything is in a state of vibration, including our organs, our bones, the tissue in our body, and the energy field around us. So if any of these parts of the body or aura become unbalanced, in other words, ill, their symptoms may be relieved through projecting specific sound frequencies into the aura and the body to reach that state of sympathetic resonance entrainment. Now, there's certain sound tools that I use in sound therapy to reach this sympathetic resonance entrainment. And the first group of tools are there on this picture is the quartz crystal singing bowls. They consist of 99% pure quartz crystal. So when you play them, you actually use the energy of crystal together with sound. And I always use the example when I was still doing my training in the UK. One Saturday, my husband and I decided, okay, it's time to clean the house. And we put a CD of crystal singing bowls on as background music. Within a few minutes, both of us were not in the mood for cleaning the house anymore. We just wanted to lie on the couch and relax. These sounds are very powerful. They change your brainwave state. They put you in the meditative state. So that's why they always say also, do not drive while you listen to these sounds. I'll talk a little bit more about the brainwave states a little bit later. So those are the quartz crystal singing bowls. I also use Tibetan singing bowls, sometimes called Himalayan singing bowls. They have a more earthy sound. They're made of metal. They're normally used at the beginning of a session and in the crystal bowls later on in the session. I also use the shamanic drum, which is this kind of drum that you hold at the back. You can see there's strings at the back. This is where you hold it, and then you play it with this stick. If you look at pictures of traditional healers of a couple of centuries ago, so drawings, you'll see them with a drum in one hand like this. That's why it's called the shamanic drum. The djembe drum, which is held between the legs, is not the traditional shamanic drum. So just to distinguish between the two. What makes this kind of drum that I use really nice for guiding a group in sound meditation or for healing one-on-one is the fact that you can hold it in one hand, play with the other, and walk around. Whereas with other drums, you have to stay where you are. And it's nice for a therapist also to walk around, to move the sound around the clients. The voice is an integral part of sound therapy. Anyone who has a voice can do sound therapy with their voice. It's got nothing to do with singing beautifully or anything like that. It's making specific sounds that have a soothing effect on your own body and those around you. And then last but not least, I also use tuning forks, which work on different pressure points in the body. Sound meditation is the combination of meditation. I often use mindfulness meditation, and then specifically using the sound tools to facilitate the meditation. So what you'll find when you meditate while one of these sound tools are playing, you will go into the meditative state much quicker because of the way that it works on your brain. And I will explain a bit more about that now. There are 4 main brainwave states. So at the very moment, you are hopefully in the beta brainwave state, which is the state where we are awake, which we are normally alert, and we are conscious. This is the state you have to be in when you drive, when you operate heavy machinery. It's also the state that can cause you most stress, because if you stay in the beta brainwave state too long, that's where stress really starts to take over. So that's why we sleep. We first go through the alpha brainwave state into theta, which is the dream state, and then delta, which is the very, very deep sleep state. Why many people don't really feel relaxed after sleeping, there can be numerous reasons, but very often it can also be that they don't actually spend enough time in the alpha and theta states. The alpha theta border is the brainwave state where self-healing happens in the body, and it's a kind of restful state that you don't get in any of the other brainwave states. Going close to the alpha theta border is also what happens when you receive a sound therapy treatment or when you receive sound meditation. Very often clients would tell me after a 45-minute session that it feels like they've slept for 8 hours. It's because of the kind of rest that you experience. So in sound meditation and sound therapy, the tools that we use help to induce the alpha brainwave state, which is also known as the meditative state, and then you actually go a little bit deeper into theta, where we can also use something called journey work, which some of you might be familiar with, where you work a lot with people's mental imagery, which is a powerful tool also in meditation. Now, I believe any kind of healing has to be accompanied by positive intention, and that is also the case in sound therapy and sound meditation. If you think for yourself, when you ask someone, how are you? You don't really intend to hear the answer, so you don't show the intention in your voice. Whereas if you ask, how are you? There's a clear difference in the way I ask it, so my intention comes through, that I actually want to hear how you are doing. And that intention comes from the heart energy, if you look at this picture. It's believed that the heart, we actually do a lot more through our hearts. The electric field, magnetic field around the heart is much bigger than around the brain. So yes, the brain is very important, but we actually do a lot more through our hearts. And in sound therapy and sound meditation, we consciously work with positive love intention. And we actually have a formula for that, which the well-known sound healer in America, Jonathan Goldman, that he coined. It's that vibration, in this case sound, plus intention equals healing. So this basically means that the sound on its own is wonderful and powerful. But when you add positive, loving intention, that's when the real healing comes in. You can also pick up intention when you go to a music show of your favorite artists performing. You can pick up whether the performers' hearts are in the show or not. And you will feel that through your body. If you really enjoyed a show, it means that the performer's intention was for you to enjoy and they also had a good time. If they don't have a good time or they have an off day, that intention will come through and you will pick it up. So it's the same with healing. Always remember, when you work with sound, put the positive healing out there. I always call on the angels of sound, love and light, and trust that they are there to create the best for everyone involved. And with the importance of intention, also remember that words are also sounds. So combine them with different kinds of intention and you have different effects on your body. Notice more the words that you use, the words that those around you use. What intention is it used with? I was raised with to always remember it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that is very, very important in sound healing as well. Right. So that was a little bit of more information for you about what sound therapy is, what sound meditation is, what role sound actually plays in our daily life. We've got sound vibration around us all the time, and we need to become more aware of it. And as I said earlier, notice if there's sounds that don't do you good and try to change them if you can. I just put a little bit of information there about the center that I run. There's my YouTube channel where I'm posting my sound meditations. So my foundation training course and practitioner training course are both available online, where I teach you how to use sound in a positive manner. You don't have to use all the sound tools. If there's just one you want to focus on, that's fine too. I do some meditation coaching and distance Reiki as well. And then after lockdown, I'll get back to doing individual and group sessions. So, right, that's the end of my presentation. Okay.
Thanks, Wilna. This was quite fascinating. I have to say that, it really opened our eyes, to the deeper wonders of sound.
Thank you. Well,
thank you.